Today, I want to share with you about all the permits that you need for the purpose of incorporating your company here in Vietnam. And keep in mind, under the chapter Daily Life Vietnam Visa, I spoke to you already about visa and business visa. So you can also take reference to this other chapter on our website. But here again, I go now more into depths of the permits that you need for incorporating your company. And I will share with you my experience. That's the way how I did it. There are for sure better ways you can do it, but that's just the way how I like to do it. Because I always like to fly to a country, to meet people first, to select my business partners or my CPAs, my accountants and my lawyers. So I came to Vietnam first with a business visa. Then I was looking for lawyers. I was interviewing 3-4 lawyers. Also had my friends, my network through the business associations. So I got introduced to those lawyers that my friends and my network and the people from the embassies and the business associations thought would be good lawyers or good partners when incorporating a company. Once I have selected the lawyer I trusted in and I wanted to work with her, I flew out to Thailand and requested a new business visa, because actually you need to immigrate with a business visa to get your documents. And now I also make a reference here to visa and work permits. And again, this can be on both sides. This can be you want to come here for work, or you as a company owner later when you have a company in Vietnam that you want to recruit some foreigners to come here. So in principle, you need first a business visa, which allows you the entry for the purpose of work. But in order to work, you need a work permit. So once you are here with the business visa, so you came with the business visa, then you can apply for a work permit. And let me show you this work permit, how it looks like. So it's in principle a DIN A4 page hard carton. So here it's a copy, but it's a very thick paper usually. It has your photo on it, and it just has your general information, and it grants you the right to work in Vietnam. So that's the work permit, how it looks like. And now let me go a little bit through the checklist. What is needed for work permit? And again, that's important for both, because in my case, my company provides a lot of jobs for Vietnamese people. But at times, I also need a foreigner to come here to work for me, whether it's a specialist or an expert on a short time. So also as a business owner, you need to know about this. And usually, in the beginning, when the company was small, I just give it to my lawyer to do it. When you have a bigger company and you have your own staff, they can do it working together with the right department at the authorities. In principle, it's the Department of Labor that is the only agency or the only organ that can issue work permits. And I want to check with you the requirement, the documents that you need for this. So the work permit has to be requested by the employers. Either you are a business owner and you request a work permit for another foreigner, or now let's suppose you want to come here and to work to get the work permit. So it is the company that has to apply for the work permit. Now you have to provide, or your employee for whom you're asking a work permit has to provide a health check certificate, criminal records. If you already spent more than 6 months in Vietnam, then you would have to bring a criminal record from Vietnam and from your home country. And keep in mind, all those things have to be translated, notarized, and legalized. So from my experience, when I came here to Vietnam the first time incorporating my company, I had to bring a lot of documents. I had to translate them at home, have to notarize them, to legalize them with the Ministry of Interior, then also going to the Vietnamese embassy overseas, abroad, and then I bring all these documents with me. So that was some work in upfront to do, some running work in my home country. And so besides the criminal records, you need to bring all the degrees. So Vietnam is still a country with qualified immigration, so you need to prove that you have at least 12 months of experience in a certain sector, in a certain field. So you need your university degrees, or higher than a university. Or if you're a specialist, then you also need to prove that you're a specialist in a field. That you can do it through a working experience confirmation document from your former employee. But again, you must have spent more than 12 months in that specific field of experience. Of course, you need to bring a passport, you need to bring some passport photos, and then the company that applies for the work permit also needs to attach the approval from the Vietnamese committee, which allows that employer to recruit foreign workers. So you hold a company, you also need to get this document that you are allowed to recruit foreign workers. Okay, then it takes around 40 days plus, and you have to pay a fee which is a bit more than $300, yeah, and some extra fees, so make a few $100 ready for this. Now, there are some situations that you can work in Vietnam without the work permit. I also want to go through the checklist with you on this topic, because you not always need a work permit. For example, if you incorporate your company, limited company, then you will also already be able to work here and to get your residence card without work permit. So, cases where you don't need a work permit is if the working duration is less than 3 months, if you are a member or a founder, a co-founder of a limited company, you're one of those members or one of those co-founders, or you are the owner of a one member limited company, or you are a member of the BOD, you are board of director member of a publicly listed company. In these cases, you don't need to have a work permit. Also, if you're a foreigner who come to Vietnam, or if your company is looking for foreigners who come to Vietnam to do sales activities, then you also don't need a work permit. Yet, keep in mind, you have to register this sales agent with the authorities. So they need to know that you have somebody coming in here who does some sales activities. I give you an example. I was helping a couple of wine companies from Central and Eastern Europe, and they wanted to bring their expert staff to Vietnam to speak about alcohol, about wine. And of course, it's very nice to having sales agents who comes from this Eastern European country, who knows everything about wine, who can speak about wine, who can also speak about their terroir, their cru. But again, it's possible, it can be done, you just need to register it. In this case, again, you don't need to have a work permit. And the last case that is to mention here, if you are a foreign lawyer with a law practice license for Vietnam, but that license has to be issued by the Ministry of Law, Ministry of Justice. So if you are such a lawyer, then also you don't need to have a work permit. So again, that was now about the business visa to come here, then to request the work permit if you need one. If it's not needed, those cases that I just mentioned, then it's fine. The next thing I did then, I was going to get my residence card, because the residence card actually is important, because this one allows you to stay here. Now, in those cases that I mentioned that you don't need a work permit, you go and ask straight for a residence card. In other cases, when you or the people that you employ need a work permit, you need the work permit first, and then you can ask for the residence card. So these are in principle the basic documents you need to get here. Business visa first to arrive, and then work permit. In some cases you don't need, but the next step then is the residence card. Now, I continue here, speaking now about incorporating the company. Again, let me go through the phases. You arrive here with a business visa, you work with your lawyer. The lawyer starts the process of incorporating your company. You need to bring him all the documents that I mentioned earlier. And remember, in my opinion, it's still a qualified immigration. So the country demands certain things from you. You need to prove that you are qualified to do business here and to open that company. So you arrive with the business visa, you hook up with the lawyer, you start working with the lawyer. The next thing you will do is to open a bank account. And I will explain to you why you have to open a bank account. After this, your lawyer keeps working with you to obtain the FIC. That stands for Foreign Investment Certificate. Many times Vietnamese people here call it just the investment license or the foreign investment license, but the correct denomination is FIC, Foreign Investment Certificate. Once this is granted, you get at the end your business license or the incorporation documents. That's the process. Why do we need to open a bank account? So the requirements, in principle, the standard requirements are still that you transfer money from your home country, you transfer money from outside into Vietnam. It's foreign direct investment. So that's why they ask you, why you're obliged to open a bank account first. And whilst you are applying for this license, you already initiate the transfer of the funds to Vietnam. So the first funds have to come from outside country, and your lawyer will tell you what is the minimum requirement, so how much funds you have to bring in within the first 12 months. And that depends again on the sector, that can depend on the region. So that's again why you need to work with the lawyer. There are no websites that give you that tell you exactly how much funds you have to bring. It really depends on the sector, on the business, and sometimes on some specific zones, free trade zones, some areas, some provinces of the country. All right, so that's everything about the licenses that you do. And behind here, you have it laid out what you should do, what's my experience, how you should do. I truly suggest start coming with a business visa, meet the right people, choose your lawyer, and then get your work permit and your residence card. And if it's for a company, at the same time, open the bank account, bring all the documents, hook up with your bank at home, initiate the money transfer, and get your investment license. And after this, you incorporate and you get your incorporation document. And voila, I'm happy for you. You're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur.